Forum, I will call the meeting to order. Let me get an approval of the agenda. Thank you for all this. Regina Watson. All in favor? Opposed? And how about approval of the minutes? Regina Watson. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor? Opposed? The minutes are approved. Unfinished business. None. And we move to new business. Mr. Fournier.
Sure. So I feel like Jason Morgan stole my thunder.
Yeah, right?
I told him I liked that.
Yeah, I do too.
That was a good update.
It was a good update, and I'm all about him being proactive about transportation changes in Lansing. It's good to have a partner like that. Well, HB 4012 has passed both chambers of the legislature. This is the local speed limits bill. As a reminder, this bill allows municipalities to set speed limits as low as the 50th percentile, even if a traffic engineering study determines that the 85th percent, obviously, determines the 85th percentile, that would be higher. And it allows speed limits to be set at the 50th percentile if an argument can be made that there are other safety concerns along the roadway that are not captured in the study. So, prevalence of pedestrians, proximity to a school, bike infrastructure, things of that nature. Minimum speed limit still has to be 25 miles per hour. We tried to lobby to get it to be as low as 20, but the state police would not support that. And their support was critical to getting the bill through the legislature. And so I was up testifying on behalf of this bill a couple weeks ago. Testified on behalf of a couple bills, and this is one of them. And I'm glad to see that it is on the governor's desk, and we anticipate that she will be signing it. So this is one that's been 5 years in the making, so it's to get it done. So other than that, we're still in a essentially lame duck strategy, seeing what else we can plug through the legislature. And seeing what other opportunities can crop up in the next couple of months before things start getting really serious with the budget. And of course, all work will stop except for the budget, and then all work will stop except for elections. So that's what we are looking at. We are also in the middle of earmark season. On the state level, in keeping with what we have communicated with legislators at our last legislative breakfast that we had here, our requests are to complete funding for the election center. We have Andrea's on the call. She's pulling a meeting together with the Grand Rapids and Lansing and Ann Arbor city clerks to continue our strategizing around the election center. We've been consistently communicating leadership on our desire to have funding finished for the project. And so those conversations are going well. We're also asking for funding for Fire Station 4 and for an emergency operations center. We'll see what kind of opportunities present themselves in Lansing, but our top priority remains finishing funding for the election center. As an aside, the council pretty soon should see a contract for design and engineering services for the election center. That'll be paid for out of the previous money that we got from the state. So that should be forthcoming. I think that probably in about a month, maybe first meeting in May, we'll see that. On the federal side, we're also submitting requests on the federal side. It is really funny to talk to congressional staffers because, of course, they haven't passed the budget from last year. We keep getting continuing resolutions. When that budget does pass, we will be, if it passes intact, we will be getting funding for our pedestrian signals project. Not full funding, a portion of funding, but that'll help us replace pedestrian signals in the downtown. The remaining projects, since the guidance hasn't changed for fiscal year 25, we decided to submit the same projects we submitted last year, except not including the pedestrian signals project. So we have submitted a project for design and engineering for the train station, flood mitigation funding for the Barton Pond embankment, which of course, I wouldn't say it has structural issues at this point, but it does require maintenance. And we're also supporting an earmark for the tree line trail for property acquisition. The feedback from Senator Peters' office last year was that all of our earmarks scored really well in committee, but none of them got funded on the Senate side, mostly for just internal political reasons within the committee. So when we talked to Dingell's office and we talked to Peters' office and asked them, normally they wouldn't recommend submitting the same earmarks. They like to see some fresh ones, but the feedback from both of them was that the funding guidance hasn't changed and all the projects scored well. So what the heck? Let's try it again and see what we can. So that's what we're doing. We have all the applications submitted for Stabenow and Peters. Dingell just opened her application up, but hasn't set a deadline. So we're still, trying to scrape together precious moments on our calendar and submit them.
Have we had, I recall Senator Peters, sort of took a blanket approach. I think the best way to put it, and just kind of didn't really, there was a difference between how his office and Stabenow's office handled them.
So it's actually the reverse.
Oh, was it the reverse?
Yeah, Stabenow submits everybody.
Okay.
Peters does not. Andrea, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I wasn't going to respond to that. I can wait because I don't want to interrupt your conversation. I just wanted to follow up with some additional information regarding the speed limit. So.
Okay, thanks. Well, let's.
John, this is Mary Beth too, and I can, if you need, I do have some updates on the 24 appropriation. And, but you're covering, well, they did pass, so everything for 24 is signed by the president at this point.
I thought the last bill was another continuing resolution. Is that the actual final bill?
Yes, it's the final bill for, they did come to an agreement, yes. So 24 is put to bed, and we are officially on to 25. And then also they're considering supplemental requests, pretty much foreign aid requests they're out for 2 weeks starting today and next week. And then the supplemental will be on the table, at least in the House, when they get back.
Okay. Thank you, Mary Beth.
You're welcome. But everything, yes, agree with everything as far as how the project submission is going right now. And I was going to say, I had checked Congresswoman Dingell's website this morning. So it's possible that her portal is open now. I hadn't seen it as of this morning.
Okay.
For 25 requests.
So Peters generally has been a little more selective, but all 4 of our requests made the cut last year.
Mm-hmm.
And his office was very optimistic, but as the newest member of the Appropriations Committee, I think there was a little bit of a learning curve there for his staff. And I also think as the lowest seniority senator, Patty Murray is the Appropriations Chair. Is that right, Mary Beth? I'm pretty sure she's the Appropriations.
Yeah. That's correct. Yeah.
And Susan Collins is the Minority Vice Chair, and
correct.
Senator Murray and Senator Collins decided that it was better to do a bipartisan appropriations approach, which means that the 2 of them really cleaned up. And it really, even though Peters is in the majority as the lowest ranking member, his requests didn't fare particularly well. So his staff has kind of communicated to us that they've learned a lot, and please resubmit your projects and we'll see what we can do this year.
Okay.
So he has a personal interest in the train station project also. We've spoken to his staff at length. Dykema actually was, when I was in DC last spring, I was able to speak with Senator Peters directly about the train station project. He has a lot of interest in it. That's been communicated back to us from multiple angles. So I'm hopeful that one will get some serious funding this year through the process.
Okay.
And I would agree about, it's not like you're asking for more money by resubmitting since they haven't received funding yet. They're really, I think, what they're leery of is projects that you're going to have to keep coming, that they're going to have to keep funding to get done.
Right. Yeah. So, Andrea, did you want to, talk about your comments?
Sure, thank you. I just wanted to share too, yeah, very exciting news on the speed limit bill. It's amazing how much work that was, and, you know, work in close coordination with the Michigan Municipal League and Representative Squaw, the sponsor of that bill. I had spoke with him kind of end of last week, just congratulating him on the bill. And, you know, he did mention, and I'll follow up with more details, he wasn't sure, but he mentioned there's going to be another speed limit bill, you know, positive one for local government. He didn't have the details and didn't know all, but he said an issue came up and it couldn't be, or wasn't addressed in his bill. So I think they were just letting his bill move forward and be, you know, get sent to the governor, because we were at the kind of last step in the process. But he said an issue was raised, so there'll be a subsequent bill coming, and I think that may be opportunities for the city to do more there. And you know, certainly we'll get more details on that. The legislature's on recess, but we'll get some more details and share that and make sure the city stays engaged in that conversation as well.
Great. Legislative update at this point.
Yeah, there's one question on, you know, we had talked before, also an admin committee about the marijuana tax rebate, and, you know, a little bit of opacity around when we're getting the information, what exactly the formula is. Had we made that, you know, had we made that clear to, I guess, our legislative partners? But two, do we need any kind of like formalized action there, just in terms of asking, like, what's the deal?
So we've spoken directly with Laura about that several times. I will admit we haven't spoken to them recently, like in the last year or so. But I mean, we met directly, what the director of Laura and voiced these concerns, and essentially their feedback to us always is, we get it to you as soon as we have it. It's a shooting target, or a moving target, excuse me. And so, you know, we'll continue to communicate that, but sometimes the state government just kind of does things the way they want.
I think there was maybe more concern about the number and how it was arrived at.
Right.
Okay.
And so I mentioned something to Jason too about, because it sounds like, I mean, we're supposed to be getting a certain percentage, and they don't seem to be able to show the math. So that is also something that, particularly with the legislature kind of pounding transparency right now, that perhaps we could get some traction with our legislative leaders if we feel we're not getting what we're owed under law.
Yeah.
That maybe there's a requirement that they open up the books.
Okay.
But yeah, by sheer number of dispensaries, I mean, Arbor's pretty high, and in terms of also the, so to speak, but they're also by hours too, hours of opening, and the fact that, you know, we've seen kind of flat or only slight increases in the revenue, but I think Arbor's probably a disproportionate amount of sales. It's just interesting to not see that calculation kind of broken out.
Okay.
Yeah,
We can make that an issue.
Actually did just hear from somebody kind of dispensary side about that.
yeah, I know it is
More difficult.
No, I think that is true kind of broadly, but I do wonder how it's prorated, how it's based on population or based on the number of specific sales.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Any other questions, comments?
Okay, any additional information / upcoming business?
We are getting to the point where we're going to have to update the legislative packets, legislative agenda. We'll probably send a notification out to our boards and commissions in the next month or so and start that process. And we should, you know, as we get into October, certainly November, this committee will, I think that's where these meetings get a little more interesting and productive. There's a lot of discussion here about what direction we want to chart and where we want to go. So, you know, we're gonna get that process underway and be ready for the fall to have that discussion.
Excellent.
Yeah, is the legislative, are we doing another legislative breakfast to do that on the calendar?
We have not scheduled one. I was debating it. I'm debating the utility of having one right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of know our targets have narrowed.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of our agenda has been accomplished or has been ruled out.
Yeah.
And so, you know, some of the remaining items that are up in the air are really outside of our control. You know, I mean, if the Death Star bills are repealed, that's not gonna be because Ann Arbor had a conversation with Joe Tate about it, right? Those forces are moving beyond our orbit. And so, I mean, I'm always happy to host people.
Hashtag are we updated?
Yeah, I'm definitely at the end of the
Yeah.
year, for
Right.
sure, to kick off the new legislative session, for sure.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Or if there's potentially anything that we identify that might be, depending on the outcome of the elections.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever a lame duck session might look like.
Yeah.
And we might need to be prepared for that also.
Yeah.
We need to ask a bunch of things with the end of the year.
Yeah. That's fair. That's really.
The other opportunity coming up, of course, is Mackinac.
Yep.
So we have a meeting yet before, we've got a couple meetings.
What is it? The April?
It's
March.
It's March, yeah. So we don't necessarily need to talk about it now, but,
Yeah.
we could maybe think about it for next time.
Put a strategy
Mhm.
together.
Yeah.
What's our elevator pitch
Right.
at Mackinac?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah, I'll be there for my other job this year and staying on, yeah. So I'll be a little bit more available in the mornings also.
Okay.
And I actually registered for the conference this year.
Good job. Yeah.
So I will be,
Maybe it's full.
I won't just be playing around the edges, I will be, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Great.
I'll just-
Richard Florida talk like I did.
Mhm.
Sorry, Andrea, go ahead.
No, it's fine. Sorry, I didn't know if anyone saw my hand raised. I was just gonna say too, you know, as we're talking about Mackinac, timing's perfect to prioritize, appropriations requests, because that'll be, just as final negotiations will be happening at the state level.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was, Mackinac was instrumental in dislodging funds for the landfill solar project last year. I mean, it was a huge part of why that money came together.
Mhm.
So, I guess the last thing I have is one of the other bill I testified on behalf of was a bill from Representative Purdy that would ban HOAs from banning solar installations. And that, I had a chance to speak with him. Andrea, made that connection for us and it's already passed the House, it's in the Senate, it's in Senator Irwin's committee. And I'm optimistic. So that's also one that's in our legislative agenda that I think is going to be really good for us.
Mhm.
You just made me think of another thing with the mention of HOAs. I don't know if I just had a chance, Councilmember Dovey, I haven't had a chance to talk to you yet. She had something that she was gonna maybe chat with you about whether or not we thought it was feasible, with the requirements that a lot of HOAs are maintaining stormwater systems and they are not currently up to standards. About whether or not there might be some ability to get some support for that.
Yeah, the conversation about that as well.
You know,
There's, yeah.
let me think about that. That might, you know, we talked about that. I know it's something we've been tossing around here because there's going to have to be some state intervention, I think, to take care of these issues. And it might be an issue that MML is interested in too, because if the HOAs aren't taking care of these issues, it's an issue of these systems, it's going to be dumped at the doorstep of local governments to take care of, and we just can't afford it.
Well, in the situation that I should mentioned also, I think like her neighborhood HOA dissolved before she moved there. And she's now finding out that like all of their basements are flooding because they don't have, because for 20 years the HOA ignored this.
Right,
And now she has some neighbors who like can't afford to do what they need to do.
right.
I think that this is it's a question of support from the state, but also new state law that requires associations and HOAs to,
Actually
Plan
contribute to
to
the
act-
capital fund.
and yes, Florida, for all their faults, actually, has a really strict law
Oh,
on
really?
that front. Yeah, my dad was on the board of his, of their condo.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, their community, and, yeah, they had to plan 25 years ahead and raise the capital to, they were constantly evaluating the state of their infrastructure.
That's interesting.
Mhm.
We'll have a look at the Florida law
Mhm.
as a model.
I know.
Holy cow.
I know, right.
Weird things to say.
Yeah. Florida man maintains stormwater infrastructure.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
So, yeah, I think Senator Chang also could be a good partner, like, just given that she's had, issues, things about water affordability, she's got a couple water bills moving, and I wonder if this issue might be brought to her
Yeah.
attention as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Because I know the mayor came out to support her bill.
that's right.
Yeah, that's right, Nick.
For sure. I love it.
Okay, anything else? All right.
Stormwater issue, though, I do want to flag, there is, Senator Bayer has Senate Bill 660 that allows, the creation of stormwater utilities and really, gives a really clear legal framework for communities to create those utilities, and then as they may enact special assessments for projects that are needed, that framework to do so without, within the confines of the Bolt decision, and not have to worry about litigation related to that.
And we've been involved on the back end with that bill because one of our outside law firms that works on water utility issues is actually helping spearhead that effort with Senator Bayer. So we've been, I've had some discussions with them. I know Brian and Tim have had discussions with them too about refining that legislation. So.
Okay,
Great.
anything else from the team?
No,
Okay. We now come to public comment.
I have two items. The first is, most of you are probably aware that there is a community land trust that was formed in Ann Arbor. There are actually 5 community land trusts in Michigan right now. There may be an item in the budget regarding community land trust. And so I'm just giving you a heads up. There'll be more information about it, but we would like Ann Arbor to support that budget line item. Easy add. The other one is regarding crosswalk standards with MDOT has a number of documents out there right now. And this isn't about the local ordinance because the mayor has already made a statement in support of the state crosswalk law a few years ago, and it's sort of a new issue for me. But what I believe is that we can't necessarily mandate it at the state level, but we need some technical information regarding illumination, the use of refuge islands, and the use of RRFBs. So, I mean, all of this is pretty standard, and it would be based on what Ann Arbor is already doing 99% of the time. So, and I don't know that this would actually require a bill or if this would be more just an administrative standard out of MDOT.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, that's it for in person. Looks like we have one caller. If you would like to make a comment, please press *9. *9 to raise your hand. Okay. Seeing none, public comment is closed. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Watson, Radina, all in favor? Opposed? We are adjourned.